Welcome to One Good Meal with Sherry. Today we're going to be making apple dumplings, and this is my grandma's recipe from her cookbook, How to Cook It. This is the quintessential fall recipe if you're looking for something that will make your house just smell like fall and make you feel like you're about to jump in a leaf pile. This is what you should make. Go to the apple orchard and pick some apples with your kids and then use them to make these. Or in the fall, apples go on sale for really cheap at the store, so that's kind of what I do because I don't really like picking apples. I don't want to pay someone so that I can do work when I can just buy them for cheaper at the store. But it is fun to go to the apple orchard, so still go. But I had some technical difficulties when I filmed this last week, and I lost the first part of my video, so I'm just going to give you kind of a summary of what I did and then cut into the video where I still have some footage. So for this, you need 6 to 8 apples. If they're really big apples, use 6. If they're kind of smaller, then use 8. Don't worry if you have extra. I just dumped the extra sliced apples on top. So you want to peel them and core them and dice them up into small pieces. I use an apple core peeler. So if you have one, it makes this really, really fast. If you don't, just do it by hand. That's what I did for years. I've only had my apple core peeler for a couple years, but I've been making these for like 10 years. So it just takes longer to use a knife or a vegetable peeler to peel your apples, but totally worth it. So cut them up, put them in a bowl, stir in a little bit of lemon juice so they don't go brown, and then we just make the dough. And the dough is made out of a teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 3/4 cup butter or oleo in the recipe, which I really don't know what that is. I think it's some kind of Crisco shortening. Sounds really gross to me. Just use butter. And you want your butter to be cold. And a 1/2 cup of milk, and you mix it all. You're gonna mix the dry ingredients and then use your pastry cutter if you have one. You like kind of cut it in, scrape it off the butter, and that helps your butter. You want it to be in little pea-sized pieces. If you don't have a pastry cutter, just use a couple butter knives or forks to smash up the butter. You just want to get that butter into small pieces. And then when you add the milk, just kind of eyeball it. Sometimes I think I usually a little bit more than 1/2 cup to get it the way I want it. But you just want it to be like a dough. It'll be a little bit sticky, and then you roll it out, cut it into little squares or rectangles, fill them with apples, cinnamon and sugar, and a little spot of butter, and then you fold it up into a little dumpling, and they're so cute and they're so good. So that's how you make them. Now I'm gonna cut to the footage from last week when I made them, and that's how you do it. I've mixed up my cinnamon sugar. I think I need a little bit more cinnamon. A good rule of thumb when you're doing a cinnamon sugar mixture for any type of topping, toast, pretzels, cinnamon rolls, whatever, a tablespoon sugar to a teaspoon of cinnamon. So that's what we've got there. All right, baby, this is gonna be very, very messy. I'm not quite sure how this is gonna go, but we'll give it a try. I've never done it with such a young one with me. Okay, Bee, you ready? I'm doing this next part in fast forward because you can't really see much, and my kids were helping me, but I also think it's really funny to watch how they help. So we'll just be doing this part in fast forward, and I'll explain what's going on in the next segment. Okay, I'm going to try this again because I sent the kids outside with a bowl of apples. Don't worry, I can see and hear them totally out my door. I have the door open, and I don't just send the baby outside all by herself all the time. So, not being negligent. Just trying to do this without all the help that I get. Okay, so I'm going to try this again because my first batch turned out pretty ugly because the 3-year-old was folding them up, which is fine. Doesn't matter because it always tastes good no matter what it looks like. But it is a little nicer if you can get it to look pretty. Okay. That's a little more of a uniform one. Now I can cut this a little easier. Okay, so I'm just going to cut it kind of down into thirds, equal pieces as much as I can. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a perfect square or a perfect rectangle, because you can kind of, like this one, it's not the right shape, but I can flatten it out and stretch them out as an individual piece. So I've got my little, here I'll do this one because it's closest to me. Got my piece of dough. This one's pretty big, so I'm going to add apples. Probably should have cut these apples a little smaller, but it's fine, they'll still cook. So you add apples, just a little sprinkling of cinnamon and sugar, and a little dab of butter. And then you just fold it up. I like to grab opposite corners and pull it together and pinch it together at top so it makes a little pocket, a dumpling. And then I put it in my pan. I like to shove them in really tight into a pan. That's just the way I like to do them. I think they cook better that way. I'm going to use a bread pan for this one. You just need something deep. Hi, girls. Baby's pressing her face up against the glass of the door. Okay, so this one is not a perfect square, but I'm just going to press it out. Sorry, I keep putting things there. Press it out, move it into place. Fill it up. Cinnamon sugar, butter, fold it up. See, this one, sometimes they don't form perfectly, like the apples are sticking out the top of that, and that's okay. It's okay, it doesn't have to be perfect like that. I just love these. It reminds me of, I don't know, I think probably people a long time ago made these every fall and ate them. It just seems like a real old-fashioned type of recipe. Really good. So it's been a pretty nice day here. As you can tell, I didn't get dressed very well today. My husband's working all night. He's on call tonight, so I don't really have much of a cause to get dressed. He's the only one I try to impress, so sorry, this is what you get, no makeup. I did at least shower while the kids took a nap. I managed to get into a shower. So you kind of get the idea of how to fill it. Once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. It's just kind of an assembly line. Apples, cinnamon sugar, dab of butter, boom, that's it. Fold it up. There's flour all over my floor, all over the bench that the kids were standing on, all over their clothes. I don't know why I let them do that while they're both wearing navy blue shirts. That flour is gonna stand out like crazy. Oh well, that's why we have washing machines and bathtubs and mops and all of that good stuff. Okay, so I've got my two pans. They're just, see how they're in there, kind of shoved in. And I have a few extra apples, not that many, so I'm just gonna, I like to just dump them on top because they'll get cooked and they'll get all the good flavor of cinnamon sugar and the flavor of the syrup that we put over it. Okay, so to make the sauce, the syrup, it's 2 cups water, 2 cups sugar, so you know it's good. It's got to have lots and lots of sugar. Sorry, this is a bad angle. I know it's pretty lame. Alright, there's 2 cups, and then a 1/4 teaspoon nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon cinnamon, and 1/4 cup, half a stick of butter. And then you just give it a good stir and bring it to a boil. It smells so good. It's like having a potpourri going in your house of cinnamon and nutmeg. It smells so, so good. I know you're gonna love it. The sugar will start dissolving in a few minutes. So when that starts boiling, you're gonna boil it for 5 minutes. And we'll pour it over the dumplings and bake it at, let's see, 375 for 45 minutes or so until they're golden brown. So I'm going to let that boil, then I'll dump it on and bake it. Okay, so my sauce, my syrup has boiled for 5 minutes. It smells so good. So I'm going to pour it over my apple dumplings, just dividing it evenly between the pans. And I like to cook, what? No popcorn. Sorry. She just got home from school and she's negotiating her snack. So I like to put it on a pan because even if your what's the word I'm looking for? Even if your pot or whatever you're putting your dish you're putting in it is really deep, sometimes it can still boil over and make a mess in your oven. No, ma'am, no. So my oven's still preheating because I forgot to heat it up earlier. So when it gets to 375, I'm going to put them in and bake them for 45 minutes. She always yells for her dad. Huh? Do you love Daddy? Daddy's at work. So, and she's so cute. You're such a cute little baby. Yes, you can have Sierra. Go around the other way. So that's it, and I'll show them to you when they're all cooked. They're really, really good. Okay, so the apple dumplings are done. They turned out beautifully. They're golden brown, and I don't know if you can see, but the bottom has like this really good, yummy, sticky syrup on the bottom. So we're gonna eat them tonight for dessert. They'll probably be warm for a while, and we're gonna eat them with some vanilla ice cream, which is the best way to eat apple dumplings. So give them a try. I hope you like them. If you liked this video and you want to see more of this stuff, go ahead and subscribe. If you have any requests that you'd like me to show you how to cook or want to watch me make, or any questions, just go ahead and leave a comment and I will address them in upcoming videos. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day and enjoy the apple dumpling. Here's a close-up. Look at how beautiful those are. And see the cinnamon on top. And then if you can see on the bottom all the syrup down there. They are so good. So excited.